Hi, I'm Dave Isbell, and this is Colleen Anthus. I am the Alumni Career Service Coordinator at Michigan State University, and Colleen is our student employee. Usually she's behind the camera. Sometimes we make fun of her. Sometimes she makes us laugh, whatever. But Lisa's gone today, so I thought, I'll just film with Colleen. It would be fun. Anyways, Colleen had asked me a really good question, so I thought I would just have her ask me the question here for you guys, and we'll see what we come up with and see if it's something that's helpful to you.
Well, I'm a packaging major here at Michigan State, and one of the most important things to do as a packaging major is go on an internship. And it's not required, but it's highly recommended. It's very important for, as kind of a start of your career. And so we have a packaging career fair at the end of this month in January. And basically a ton of packaging companies, or just general companies, big companies like Kraft and Pepsi, they come together and we have a chance to meet with them. And often, if you have a really high chance of getting a job before you even graduate by going to this fair, and also for internships and stuff like that. So I'm kind of wondering, from what I've read and heard about, you should always do kind of research about the companies that you're going to interview for and stuff. How can you do that before? What's a good way to do research before you actually go and do an interview?
That's a really good question. So beyond the obvious, the website, the things I'd pay attention to on the website are the vision of the company, the mission of the company, and I dig beyond just the website, and I'd look at things like there's a website called Hoovers.com. You can go to, you can just Google the name of the company and find out what's being written about them. Who are their customers? Who are their competitors? What's the revenue that have they been going up or down in business? So what's their sales cycle going to look like? What's their, get as much information about kind of the public information as you possibly can. And then what I would propose is that if you can use your social media networks, this is a really easy way to find people. So using the MSU Alumni Association group to find an alum maybe that works at the company you're interested in. And just simply reading their profile, it might get a sense of kind of what their job title is and depending on how they wrote their profile. And you could kind of just approach them and ask them a couple of questions, and you could let them know as a student, hey, I'm a sophomore, I graduated a couple years, but I really like what I've seen about your company. And you might ask an educated question like, I saw that in the news you're about to launch a new product. As a packaging person, what are your ideas about packaging that product? Or something like that,
Yeah.
And then it's more of a question that kind of relies on their expertise rather than, hey, I'm trying to get a job, can you help me? Because that's not really going to go that far. Mm-hmm. But it shows that you did your homework and you know a bit about what's publicly available anyways. Right. If anybody that has a computer can look something up on Google, you should be looking up anything you can find that's public. Mm-hmm. And then through kind of that introductory conversation, you might want to ask the person, what's it like to work there? With all the stuff that I saw publicly, is that really what it's like? Is this really the mission of the company? Okay. I'd ask a lot of questions about the culture. What's it like in terms of, what's the leadership style in general? What constitutes a really good employee there? In general, what kind of things do they look for? What would help me to stand out if I were an employee there as a new employee? Mm-hmm. What would make me stand out? Asking questions like that. Okay. So if you could do your homework like that, it takes a bit to kind of find the person to talk to, but if you just keep doing the work, you'll eventually find somebody, especially at one of those huge companies.
I always, whenever I see something like do your research on the company, stuff like that, I always kind of wondered what that meant, because it makes sense to do your homework before you go interview. If you don't even know how to say the company's name, that's not a good start. But I didn't know what that meant. I thought maybe a good way to do that was just to find a random employee and call them up and be like, hey, what's the 411? You know, what's going on?
You know, and you got to be authentic with it. So if you can find a person that you could call that would actually take your phone call
like
and
an
ask
alarm.
them.
That'd be a perfect.
Yeah, if you can find someone that, I mean, if you can find anyone that will interact with you, I would be authentic, but remember you're also selling yourself.
Yeah.
So that's what the knowledge of kind of knowing the public information, if you can know stuff that maybe they don't even know, but
Okay.
they'll be like, wow, how did you know that?
Yeah.
Oh, it's on Google, I found it on this site, you know. It just shows your level of interest
Yeah,
in the company.
definitely.
And then when you're talking with the person, you want to take an interest in that person
Okay.
and ask what their opinion is and kind of make sure you respect them as the expert in whatever their job is. And then this is all about the follow-up. What do you do with it after
Yeah,
that?
I was
So
gonna say.
you're talking about going to a career fair. Career fair is really, it's like a lottery system. You've got 300 students in there lining up to talk to one person, and they're going to shake a lot of hands that day. And what the employer will do is they have a yes or no box that they're going to put that resume in. And so to make the best impression, you want to make sure you're dressed professionally.
Mhm.
You know, you have a smile, you're enthusiastic, but I would also say just be authentic, be yourself. You know, don't worry about, I have to get a job, I'm not, you know, look at it as an opportunity to meet another person who has an interest in something you're interested in, which is the company. And if you did the homework, you have the chance to say something like, hey, I saw in the news you're launching a new product, blah, 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 whatever the thing is.
Mhm.
And maybe they know about the thing, maybe they don't, but it might strike up a conversation that lets you stand out from the pack.
I think something that's really important about career fairs, especially when they're like when internships are so competitive and when those people are talking to hundreds of people throughout the day, it is important to stand out. So something like the results that you get from doing your homework can really impact how they remember you or if they remember you. It's very important to stand out. And then, like you said, doing a follow-up, that's important also because it helps them go, oh yeah, I talked to you about,
Exactly.
you were the one who knew about the project.
So when you do the follow-up, we talked about whatever.
Yeah.
So it becomes more than a transaction. That HR person's done 300 transactions.
Makes it more
And you
personal.
had more of a relational
Yeah.
element to it because you're able to take an interest in what they're interested in, which is the company.
Mhm.
And if you're smart, you'll take an interest in the person and you'll look to find some kind of information about that person. So
Absolutely.
you might ask a question like, to you personally, what's the most important thing about working at ABC company or something like that? And if they can respond personally, then you can start working toward building a personal relationship,
Yeah.
which is always going to be stronger than a transactional relationship. And it's likely, even if they don't see everything they need to see on the resume, that might be enough to put you in that yes pile for at least a phone call.
Mhm.
And then, like you said, the follow-up. So making sure that you grab that person's business card, reminding them, hey, this is what we talked about, I really
Right.
enjoyed our conversation, and then working to try to stay in touch with that person.
Right.
Because especially at sophomore year, you've got 2 more years before
Mhm.
you can take a job. And if for 2 years you keep coming back to these career fairs and they're there, they will remember you by the time you get to that
Definitely.
graduation.
Good
So
ideas.
hopefully that was helpful. Hopefully
Yeah.
I answered your question, and hopefully you guys got something out of that. Thank you very much for watching today.
Thanks, Dave.